2022 put Trinity University on a new stage. Here, on the national level, the lights are brighter, the stakes are higher, our voices reach further. There's no script for this type of moment, and at Trinity, that's how we've always shined. We are led beyond the conventional by an inexhaustible curiosity, a sense of perpetual discovery where no answer is too tough to question and no question is too big to answer. We do not settle for textbook definitions of scholarship and achievement. We redefine the liberal arts. We strive for an inclusive excellence that wastes no potential and leaves no tiger behind. Connected to our community of supporters. Connected to our place in a vibrant city, not only by the legacy of what we have been, but also by a joint vision for what we now can be. A united force in motion. A university who imbues its people with an ability to perform and transform in unprecedented and unexpected ways. Now nationally ranked, reclassified, and under the guidance of a new president, Trinity stands on a new platform. But we are still speaking, as we always have, from the heart. And we are still standing on a rock-solid foundation, raised by generations of inspired hands and minds before us. Our stage is boundless. Our future is unscripted. Now watch us shine.
I'm San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg. I am a Trinity University alum, and I want you to know about my passion for these two vibrant communities. My alma mater is now a nationally recognized liberal arts university, offering fully integrated arts, humanities, STEM, and professional programs. Grounded in the liberal arts, Trinity graduates students who think critically, act meaningfully, and contribute confidently throughout their careers. As for San Antonio, Trinity is an oasis in the heart of a city that serves as a cultural bridge to the Americas. We are a diverse community that values inclusion and welcomes intellectual curiosity and spirited debate. We're a city that challenges convention and welcomes new ideas. Great things are happening at Trinity University, in San Antonio, and through all our connections to our multicultural world. Join me in being part of this exciting moment.
It may be late January, but conference play is heating up in San Antonio, Texas, and we've got quite the battle on our hands tonight. It is the Trinity Tigers, winners of 8 straight, against the Centenary Gentlemen. The two teams tied for second place in the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference, ready to see who will take that advantage. It is Braxton Berry, it is Braden Board at the Tiger logo, and it goes to the Tigers off the tip. And we are underway in San Antonio. We are thrilled for this one. Should be an excellent matchup. I'm Brian Yanselson, joined by Reed Rosales. And Reed, just so excited to have what will be a game that could decide the conference, really, if you think about it.
Yeah, a grudge match here in CalGuard Gym. These Trinity Tigers going to Centenary, coming up empty-handed. They want to settle this unfinished business with the Gentlemen.
Absolutely, and a great start for them thanks to A.J. Clark's bucket. A.J. Clark joining Jacob Harvey, Jacob Millhouse, Braxton Berry, and Abdullah Roberts as the starting 5. Meanwhile, for the Gents of Centenary, it'll be Seth Thomas, Braden Board, Takeem Singleton, Quentin Beverly, and Jarek Baines. And they will be no good on their first attempt as the defense smothering for Trinity. And this will be a fast-paced game. You can already see it. The dish to Berry, and he slams it home. That'll get the crowd going early. And what a crowd we do have here inside CalGuard Gym. If you missed the women's game earlier, you missed us talking about how this is the first time that students are on campus for any home game, and we are feeling all of it already as you see that slam from Braxton Berry to put the Tigers up 4-0 just a minute in.
The house is absolutely packed tonight. We're going to be hearing a lot of noise from the student section.
That typical Trinity zone defense at work right now. Trying to cut into the middle of it there was Beverly, but he missed everything. And the air ball chance raining down from the student section as 6 seconds are left on the shot clock for the Gents of Centenary. It'll be Seth Thomas bringing it in. Looking for some help. Finally finds Singleton. He's going up against Berry, and it's rejected. Shot clock going down, and the shot no good, and then a lot of contact on Berry, no foul, but here come the Tigers. Lots of contact initiated by Clark, and the call will be against him, offensive foul. But let's take a look here at the offensive foul, and if we can, in a second at that block. What a start for Braxton Berry as the Gents get their shoe situation taken care of here, losing a sneaker and having to tie it up.
I think that's Quentin Beverly down there. Lost the shoe and a bit of contact there.
Things are just going too quickly, Reed. Can't keep their shoes on, can the Gents here in San Antonio. You're right, it is Quentin Beverly, the freshman from Katy, Texas, feeling back at home in the Lone Star State. Been a great freshman performer for the Gents, and excited to bring you all the facts and figures between these two teams as the game goes along. Beverly here running point for the Gents now. Singleton has it, top of the key. Seth Thomas in hand with it, and a deep three, short off the front rim, but the own miss recovered, and then another miss for Jarek Baines. So nothing doing for Centenary early. Millhouse from the corner. Count it for Jacob Millhouse, and a timeout on the way from Centenary. As what an onslaught, 7-0 in a hurry for the Trinity Tigers, and Chris Dorsey has seen enough. He'll call his team together as Seven Nation Army rings in CalGuard Gym. Brett Thornton waves that Trinity flag in the student section, and we are feeling right at home here, aren't we, Reed?
Absolutely. A very similar start to the women's game. An early hot start for the Tigers, forcing Centenary to call a timeout.
The Trinity Tigers coming into today 13-4, winners of 8 straight games, including a rampage through the conference. Meanwhile, the Centenary Gents 12-4, But the most important mark we're looking at today, both of these teams 6-2 in conference play, good enough for second place in the SCAC. And they are both vying for a top 2 spot and both chasing the Celts of St. Thomas, who are currently playing in Kerrville against Schreiner. We'll have the Celts here tomorrow. But first, an exhilarating matchup between two teams that are very familiar with one another and very tough on each other. As Beverly, looking for some help, gets it to Baines. Very big Centenary roster, but they are dwindling the shot clock down. The 3 off for the Gents, recovered by Singleton, and they'll get another opportunity as Singleton will reset things. Seth Thomas surveying his options, backs it out to Beverly, and the shot clock again underneath 10. Braden Board dealing with Millhouse, picks up his dribble, shot clock down to 2, but Seth Thomas able to finish, as he so often does. Seth Thomas coming off a season-high 26 points against Colorado College. One of the best players in the conference gets Centenary on the board. Abdullah Roberts trapped there in the corner, gets it to A.J. Clark. Takes it himself off the glass, and he'll draw the foul call, which Baines cannot believe.
And this Tiger defense keeping Centenary on its toes right off the bat. Centenary's had 2 offensive drives where the play clock has almost dwindled down to nothing.
A.J. Clark, the super senior from San Antonio, Texas. Short on his first free throw, and in come a pair of substitutions in the form of Caleb Jenkins and Tanner Brown, and what a sight for sore eyes this is. We have not seen Jenkins and Brown in quite a while here at home. Both of them missing a significant amount of time, along with Ben Hanley, who himself is getting ready to check back in. And A.J. Clark trying to hit his second free throw, does. And the lead is 8-2 as Hanley checks in for his fellow super senior. And what a weapon this might become for Jimmy Smith to bring in 3 traditional starters off the bench for just another gut punch against an opponent. Seth Thomas bringing it up all the way by himself before finding some teammates. Centenary fully into their offense now. Braden Board dealing with the smaller Jenkins. And the shot clock again, single digits as Beverly has it taken away by Tanner Brown. Here come the Tigers. Brown turning around. Now slows it to find Hanley. Nice job by Centenary recovering. Coach Dorsey telling me transition defense was going to be huge for his team. A whistle here, foul away from the ball on number 24, Quentin Beverly. And with 15:44 to go, that means it's time for our first media timeout. But Reed, we're not going anywhere because there is too much to talk about with this game. Trinity up 8-2. And this is a Trinity team that started 0-2 in conference play. It was a really tough trip out east beginning in Shreveport against Centenary. They started down 17-2 in that game and really weren't able to fully recover, even though they made it a close game. Brought it down to 2, but ultimately fell by 4, then followed it up with a loss to St. Thomas, and people were really starting to worry about this team that started the season ranked, really high expectations to win the conference. And then just when everybody's concerned, what do? They rattle off 8 in a row and find themselves right here. It's been quite the turnaround for them.
Yeah, you can never count this team out. Whenever you think they're out, they're going to rattle off wins, they're going to get things together, and they're just going to show off tonight. This is a big game in the conference for team morale and for momentum. And tomorrow, it's not going to get any easier as St. Thomas comes down.
I think you capture a lot of the magnitude of this game, and it's just really big for so many reasons. Not only are these teams tied, but for Trinity as a team and just as players themselves and as coaches, it's an opportunity to see how you've improved from the last game in Louisiana. You get to face the same team a second time, get to evaluate film, and now you see what's working and what isn't, as Barry trying to bring the house down on the alley-oop. Nice defense, so by the Gents. Kyle Mingo in off the bench, had it, then lost it here. And the other number 5 takes a tumble as a foul will be called on Centenary. Nice embrace there between Thomas and Jenkins as the Tigers get set to bring the ball in here. Get a good look at this last fall to the ground by Mingo, leading to the Tigers' possession. Centenary providing some full court pressure before backing off of it. Hanley has it. Over to Roberts, now across to Jenkins. Brown swings it to Roberts. Rattles out for Abdullah. Chris Jackson here with it for Centenary as the Gents look to move it side to side. Seth Thomas has it. How they move it side to side lets you see the Trinity zone. And that was way off. From the top of the key, battling for the miss is Thomas, but it'll go to Trinity.
Incredibly physical here at the start of this one.
And what you love to see from both teams, especially Trinity early on, diving to the floor for the loose ball, shows a lot of effort. Long range pass dumped off to Barry, and he takes his time for the 2. Braxton Barry, a quick 4 points out of Trinity's 10. And it all started with a full court pass from Clark to Hanley, and then the perfect dish to number 0. Here is Board in the paint. His mid-range looked no good. And A.J. Clark charging hard the other way, has Jenkins open from 3, he'll spot up and hit it. Timeout again for Centenary as the Tigers are on fire to start this one. It is 13-2 Trinity after that Caleb Jenkins 3. And a timeout allows us to highlight Caleb Jenkins finally back and looking like himself, the 2021 SCAC Player of the Year. Now in his 3rd season with the Trinity Tigers, and when he is at his best, he is doing just what he did ahead of that timeout.
Absolutely. And Centenary has to call another timeout because now the crowd's getting into it as well. You start off a little sluggish at the start, call your first timeout, and now the crowd's starting to get into it, you call another one. Centenary early on, it's looking a bit rough for them. Would you take a look into the Tiger huddle right there?
Right there, the ones in the foreground of your screen, number 22, A.J. Clark, number 3, Ben Hanley, and number 5, Caleb Jenkins. That number 5, Caleb Jenkins, saw some time off dealing with a calf injury. Talked to him earlier this week about it. Had an injury to his calf that he tried to play through, was in action when the teams were at Centenary and St. Thomas, but then he just re-aggravated it, hurt it pretty badly, so he's missed 4 games since then, but started to slowly come back into action up at Southwestern, at TLU, and now he told me he is 100% ready to go, ready to face what has been a major obstacle for Trinity over the years. The Gents 12-11 all time since joining the SCAC in 2012 against the Tigers, so they have their number. But one thing the Tigers do have now is home court advantage. The Gents are a very different team away from their coveted Gold Dome, and they are struggling to put things up. Again, late in the shot clock, the 3 forced up there by Jalen Bear, and the Tigers get to come the other way before a travel will be called on A.J. Clark, so slow it down for a second in favor of Centenary. But a 6-0 run currently for the Tigers. Centenary unable to get much going, just a lone bucket from Seth Thomas. Singleton out to Johnson, who swings it around as the Gents just looking for anything. Johnson has it now. Half the shot clock gone. So he'll try to maneuver his way in, loses the dribble here. It'll be Bear with it, dealing with Jenkins and Brown, who swipes it away, has some open floor. Can he finish? Yes, he can. A beautiful steal and layup for Tanner Brown. And I'd say he looks like himself too. As Tanner Brown missed 6 games, also with a calf injury, tearing that calf about a month ago, but reacclimating himself against Southwestern NTLU and looking excellent on that drive. The Trinity defense sending Centenary to 5 seconds on the shot clock again. Hands up everywhere. Jenkins on the ground, and it should be a shot clock violation, but they may have called the foul first. Let's see. It is going to be a foul called on number 5, Caleb Jenkins. So scratch that shot clock violation, put 20 seconds back up on the board. We'll take a look at it here. It was Jenkins who dove for it. Tough to call a foul on that one.
Yeah, bang, bang play. Sometimes they're not always going to go your way.
Seth Thomas shoots it all the way across the court to Ralph Johnson. And this Trinity zone confusing Centenary early on. Barry tried to go straight up with it, but he's going to be called for the foul. So a couple of free throws on the way for number 2, Seth Thomas.
Yeah, this is exactly what you want if you're Centenary. Offense is currently stuck in the mud a little bit. So any points, even from the charity line, they're going to be greatly appreciated.
Thomas, the only one to score for Centenary so far, and continues to be the only one. Braxton Berry will head to the bench in favor of Ty Williams. But Seth Thomas, the senior from Kilgore, Texas, mentioned that season-high 26 points against Colorado, his 4th straight game with at least 20 points, and his 11th in a row in double digits. So there are not many better in the SCAC than Seth Thomas of Centenary. He gets his 2 free throws to go, and he has all 4 of Centenary's points. They trail 15-4 with 8 minutes gone in San Antonio. Jenkins using the Williams screen, finds Hanley outside. He jabs in and misfires on the pass intended for Brown.
Yeah, just a bit wide. It was a good idea, though.
A little bit of full court pressure shown here by the Tigers. Jacob Harvey on top of Johnson, but Johnson able to get it across the timeline. Gent swinging it around. Singleton back to Johnson. He'll take it from the top of the key. No good. Big battle for the board, won by Williams. Outlet to Brown. They've got numbers. Brown, Harvey fakes from the corner. Just a bit much on it as he sent the Gent defender flying. Seth Thomas, the wild shot falls no good, and a foul committed against Caleb Jenkins. It'll be against Thomas.
May have had his eye poked in the struggle there, kind of holding his face a little bit.
15-4, the lead for Trinity. 11:22 left in the first half. It means it's our second media timeout, but once again, we'll stay right here with you on Tiger Network. This matchup is one that on paper, it just sets up to be perfect. You've got a Trinity offense that likes to go, go, go. They lead the conference with 77 points a game. They like to rush their opponent, create a lot of chaos. And then you've got a Centenary team which has the second best defense in the conference. They hold opponents to just 64 points per game, and they really want to make you think about your shots, grind out games, and keep things in the low figures. And so you've got strength against strength, offense against defense, and right now it has been the offense of Trinity outshining these first 9 minutes.
Yeah, it's the classic matchup of unstoppable force against unmovable object. And Trinity, they've come out strong here in this first half of this first half. And coming out of the timeout, we'll see if they stay hot like they've been right now. Centenary is going to look to try to put things together. They definitely wanted more than 4 points at this point of the game.
And the Tigers really flipping the script on the Gents as Griffin Levine handles the ball here. First we've seen of him. When the Tigers met the Gents in Shreveport, Centenary jumped out to a 17-2 lead. Something Coach Smith tells me really was too hard to overcome. Needed to see a better start, and I think this certainly qualifies as a better start. But right there, Tanner Brown driving to the hole is rejected by Singleton. It leaves 5 seconds on the shot clock for the Tigers. We'll see what they come up with here. Coach Smith trying to call signals from a distance. Instead, we'll call a timeout. So after that media timeout, just about 30 seconds later, Jimmy Smith calls a timeout himself, wanting to talk it over. I know we continue to hype this matchup up, Reed, but there just is so much to it. And I think one component to it as well is the coaching battle. But you look at Jimmy Smith, head coach for Trinity, in his 3rd season as head coach, and then Chris Dorsey, 6th season as head coach for Centenary. I don't think you find a better coaching matchup in most other places. These are two guys that love basketball, love drawing up their game plans for their teams, and getting to talk to both of them this week ahead of the game. They're both pumped up for this matchup, and I'm excited to see how it plays out between the two of them, not just their players. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Basketball, it's a game of adjustments, and that all starts with the coaching. And we'll see who can adjust better by the end of this.
Brown forces it up with the shot clock running out, and his shot way off, so the rebound goes to the Gents and Kyle Mingo. All 4 points belonging to Seth Thomas. The Gents trying to get someone else involved. Will it be Singleton here? Hooter in the middle of the zone. They can't find him, though. Johnson swinging it all the way across to Mingo. His 3 rattles out. Levine tries to get it off of the Gents, and he does. Trinity basketball, and you see Levine coming up clapping off of that one. Jalen Bear could do nothing but see it go off his leg. And a smart play by Griffin Levine before A.J. Clark able to check back in. Now Jacob Millhouse as well, and Jacob Harvey. And Levine here will bring it up the court. Harvey gathers it somehow. Tiptoeing the line is Levine. It ends up, though, with Singleton. And Centenary trying to go quickly the other way before Trinity recovers. And in the meantime, a foul on Levine.
Yeah, Levine just a bit off balance in the corner of that court there. Just kind of lobbed it up.
Seth Thomas makes his way back in there for the Gents. And Jalen Bear sends it to Ralph Johnson to get this possession going. You see Seth Thomas trying to set up in the heart of the zone. Now Hooter replaces him. Nowhere to go. Defense everywhere. Hands up. And this time it's Harvey on Bear. Tough matchup in the corner for Mingo. His step back, no good. Rebound for the moment for Thomas. Williams trying to swipe it away, but the Gents will get a better look now. And this time Mingo able to hit it. Three-pointer for Kyle Mingo, the senior from Cypress, Texas. See if that's the spark the Gents needed on offense. Their defense has stepped up right until that moment. They had prevented the Tigers from scoring over the last 3.5 minutes, but Ty Williams takes care of that. And the lead back up to double digits, 17-7 in favor of the Tigers.
And Centenary needs to get more guys scoring here. So far, it's just Thomas and Mingo in the score column.
Johnson, driving hard, will draw the block. Williams takes a fall on the court, but draws the foul as well. And so Ralph Johnson trying to be the engineer of the offense right now for Centenary. You see the senior from White Castle, Louisiana, will now check out. He is someone who is so critical for Centenary. A little bit of a high pass for Beverly, back in there now, the freshman. Gets it from Bear. Beverly sets up from mid-range, off the front rim. But these offensive boards are there for Centenary. Beverly takes advantage. And that is now 7 offensive rebounds for Centenary. But wasting no time on the other end is A.J. Clark. So every time early on that the Gents get a little bit going offensively, the Tigers have been able to strike back.
Yeah, and that was a speedy response from the Tigers there. They were up and down the court in a flash.
Clark seals the deal on the three-point play. Jacob Harvey will come out, and if you thought this game needed some more chaos, we've got the chaos creator, Zach Fenn, now in the game. Watch out for his hands. Over 2 steals a game, one of the best in the nation, and here he is with Millhouse, giving Thomas trouble, but he does get it across. Active hands everywhere for the Tigers. Here's Thomas with a bad throw intended for Mingo. That'll be turnover number 5 for the Gents. They are just 2 for their last 10. Down 11 as we approach our next media timeout with 8 minutes to go. Screen set by Levine. Clark utilizing it. Now backing down Mingo. Intercepted the other way by Bear. He thought he had a finish, but he had a travel. Everyone in the student section called it, and the officials listened. So make it 6 turnovers now for the Tigers, along with the Gents after that one. And the lead is 11 for Trinity. And I don't know about you, Reed, but there's just something about this gym being full that makes everything a little better.
It really does. You can hear when a 3 goes up for the Tigers. You can hear the silence, the anticipation of if it'll go in or not. You have signs in the crowd. You got a flag being waved around. It makes it a great energy in this gymnasium.
The word Jimmy Smith used to describe it is amplify. He thinks being at home with students finally on campus just amplifies everything and makes everything feel a little bit bigger. And while that's a good thing, if you utilize it well, it could also become a distraction. You know, you're at home, you're at your dorm, or you're at your apartment, and you're with your friends, you're with your family. Maybe get your mind off of the game. So he has encouraged his team to stay on track, stay focused on what they're working on, and keep this 8-game winning streak going. 6 of those wins coming in conference play, and the last 4 have been on the road. Some really gutty performances for Trinity, going up to Dallas and Austin College, playing a team in Dallas that has been playing very well. Austin College as well, battling with St. Thomas recently, and then trips to Southwestern and TLU that are never easy for anybody. The Tigers really showing that they are here to play. Barry spinning through. Couldn't quite get that finish, though, even though it looked great. And the Gents have 4 on 2. It'll be Beverly going up. Missing, though, and Millhouse has the board. Fenn able to get it to Clark. No look pass to Levine. Off the pump fake, thought he might have had it, but the Tigers will get another shot at it. Millhouse over to Clark. Crazy swinging of the ball, and a no-look pass behind the back ends up as a turnover. So you see the activity for the Tigers moving constantly. And as we highlight those last 4 road wins for the Tigers, not only is it nice to just win on the road ever, Jimmy Smith made sure to remind me and his team we had not won on the road before that road trip. That's what he told his team as Boards 3 rattles out and goes to Millhouse. Coach Smith having to put up a board of games and asking his guys, what do these losses have in common? And they said, oh, well, they're all on the road. This team has not lost at home, but they have struggled on the road. As Braxton Berry here will be called for the offensive foul. So make it a couple of turnovers in a row for the Tigers. But after that last road trip, things looking better away from home, and now they're looking to take care of business at Calgar Gym.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned a couple of turnovers that the Tigers have had. And Centenary needs to use these opportunities to put more points on the board. They haven't hit double digits yet.
And they're not going to off of that turnover. Pierce Matthews combining with Zach Fenn to force the loose ball. And right here, a change coming. Grant Jacobs checking in for Ty Williams. Zach Fenn being called in to bring the ball from the sideline. Weird spot there for him, not quite on the baseline, but just on the edge of the sideline, able to get it in. And Jenkins going one-on-one cross court with Beverly. Screen for Jacobs. Jenkins finds Fenn. Nice dish to Jacobs. And before he could get it to Hanley, he moved his feet. So a turnover fest here in the last couple of minutes for both teams.
Yeah, it seems like both offenses have seemingly stalled out. Let's see if they can get back on track.
This is more of the type of game that Centenary wants to play. Things have certainly slowed down. The points not going up with as much frequency. But there they are able to get a bucket to cut it to single digits. And the Tigers struggling as of late. Hanley will get the foul call, though.
We'll see if this is what the Tigers need.
So 5:51 on the clock as Caleb Jenkins brings it in from the baseline. Tigers up 9. Grant Jacobs trying to find Jenkins right away. Jenkins turning the corner and denied by Seth Thomas. A great defensive effort there. 3 black jerseys surrounded Jenkins. And this intensity is what you see from Centenary so often. Coach Chris Dorsey telling me his defense is what he is most proud of, but it's also what he sees the most room for improvement. And it's hard to believe when you see the second best defense in the SCAC force the 7th most steals in the entire country, yet he says it is a mindset that you always have to sharpen up your defense. And it is stepping up in the last several minutes for sure. You can see Dorsey very active on his sideline, clapping his hands, encouraging a shot here. It'll be Singleton from the corner. Off front iron and no good. But the look was there. Hanley and Jenkins, little 2-man game. Before the takeaway of Johnson. Johnson headed the other way. Pulls up from the free throw line and is too strong. So the offense not very pretty for either side right now. Tigers no points in the last 3 minutes and change. We'll see if they go to their sophomore sensation, Harvey. He gives it up to Hanley. Matthews finds some room, but another travel. Before taking a big shot there, Matthews on the back end of that one. Hope he's okay.
It's been a physical game.
Yeah, I see him get up a little slowly there.
I think he took a hit to the face there. Looks like we'll take a timeout.
There is an official's timeout here for a review. So we'll take our first break here on Tiger Network. 4:42 to go. Trinity 20, Centenary 11. After review, it remains Centenary basketball off of the Trinity turnover. Pierce Matthews being called for the travel. So the Centenary Gents shooting just 17% from the floor, 4 for 23, yet they are down only 9. Well within striking distance as they look to get their offense going. Ralph Johnson gets it to Singleton. Now Johnson has it back, and you see him barking orders at his team. Jenkins, in the meantime, swipes it away. Hanley trying to turn the corner. Johnson, nice job of being there. Jacobs had it for the moment, then loses it. And Centenary has a fast break chance. They complete it. Thanks to Jarek Baines going strong into the defender. And the lead down to 7 for Trinity. Trying to put it back up to double digits. Why not? Jacob Harvey. He had been unusually quiet. His first points of the game for the Tigers' leading scorer, averaging about 14 points per game. The sophomore from Huffman, Texas, has been putting on a clinic this year so far. That three may be the one that gets him going. We shall see. Johnson continues to be the man top of the key, trying to direct orders, but it looks like he's going to have to put it up. He does, and drains it. Ralph Johnson had 0 points in Centenary's last game against Colorado College, but he gets on the board here.
That was a tough shot. It wasn't like he was out all alone out there.
Look at the defense Johnson is playing all over Jenkins. Coach Dorsey loves that effort. Great closeout by number 13, but a better find and a better block by Board. Shot clock down to 3. Hanley over to Matthews. He has to put it up. Count it for Matthews, just like they drew it up.
Exactly. You mentioned earlier how Centenary has a very good mentality of, it's good, but it can always be better. And it's a statement that always rings true. And it's such a good mentality to have when you're such a competitive team.
Board sets up in front of Jacobs, tries to go over him, but Jacobs fights for the rebound. Not an easy matchup at all for the sophomore there. And on the other end, you give Ben Hanley an inch of room, he'll blow right past you. Lead back up to double digits, 11. The margin for Trinity over the gentlemen of Centenary. A steal nearly forced by Jenkins. He is adamant that it should belong to Trinity, but it will go to the Gents as we take a timeout on the floor. 27-16, the lead for Trinity over a team they have struggled with over the years. Mentioned that record for Centenary, 12-11 all-time against Trinity. But all-time not too long for Centenary. They made the journey down from Division I to Division III just over a decade ago. The Centenary ladies and gents were a part of the Summit League in Division I. And then as a university, they decided to make the transition to D3, which when you look at a school of their size, just a few hundred students, really a very small school, it makes a lot of sense. But they used to take a lot of pride, Reed, in their nickname as the smallest Division I school in America. So this is a team that we're looking at that just a few years ago was at the Division I level. Now they're here.
Yeah, stories are always so interesting. The stories of Division I to Division III. And remember, at a time, Trinity used to be Division I as well, but that was way longer ago than Centenary's time.
But ever since Centenary has joined the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference, it has been neck and neck between the Gents and the Tigers on the hardwood. The one place, though, that the Gents really struggle to win is right here in San Antonio. While that record is in favor of Centenary, they have lost 3 in a row in San Antonio, have not won since 2018. And that's really a theme if you look at Centenary's last few years as a program. In their 6 seasons under Chris Dorsey, they are a phenomenal 48-16 at home. It is nearly impossible to win in the Gold Dome. But when they venture out of Louisiana, they are 31-39 on the road. And I asked Coach Dorsey, is that a mindset that you have to talk about with your team? And he gave me one of the most interesting answers I think I've ever received from an opposing coach or any coach, and that's that it's his fault. It's bad coaching when you can't win on the road. So he says if this team wants to win on the road, he has to do a better job as a coach. And he has to be liking what he's seeing out of the timeout, an offensive foul drawn by his squad. But just a very blunt and honest response there by Coach Dorsey.
Yeah, and the writing's on the wall, right? The SCAC tournament is going to be here. It's not going to be at Centenary. And they need to figure out how to win on the road if they want to win the SCAC.
Absolutely. If they want to make it to the NCAA playoffs, they will have to go through San Antonio. The Tigers just hope that it is against them as well, because they want to have a say in it. Mingo pulls up from way downtown. It is no good, but Singleton gets the board and the putback. So 2 more for Singleton. Roberts thinks about the top of the key and will be called for the travel. So that has to be the at least 3rd travel called on Trinity, maybe 4th.
Yeah, Trinity being a bit turnover happy in this first half.
Speaking of turnovers, headed right back the other way. Which team will capture the energy of these final 49 seconds? Neither team has wanted to on the last 2 possessions. Clark trying to draw contact and a hard fall for Hooter. I don't know how he got up so quickly, but he did. And Mingo has it. So a bit of a separation between shot clock and game clock. Won't matter. 3-on-1. The one that matters is Jacob Harvey. 2 easy ones off the steal. And a timeout called here. Hooter still holding on to his back. You see this hard fall.
Winced a little bit. When he fell like that, you could see him grabbing his tailbone right there. Well, that could not feel good. Definitely going to feel that one in the morning.
Credit him for getting up and immediately running with the defense. And look at him staying out there, not going to the bench. So Centenary down 11, could hold on to the final possession if they want to. They get it across the timeline and get it to Bear. And now Ralph Johnson will try to set it up for the Gents. Single digits now. 5 seconds for Johnson to figure it out, but he won't. Fenn takes it away, and it'll do it for the half. Gents unable to put it up. And we warned you, Zach Fenn, over 2 steals a game, gets a big one there to end the half. Trinity 29, Centenary 18. It looked like it might be a flamethrower of a game for the Tigers. They came out very hot from the floor. They slowed down a little bit, in large part thanks to Centenary's defense stepping up, but they still hold a healthy 11-point lead. Both teams headed to the locker room. We'll see what adjustments are made. We hope you join us in about 15 minutes for a great second half.
2022 put Trinity University on a new stage. Here, on the national level, the lights are brighter, the stakes are higher, our voices reach further. There's no script for this type of moment, and at Trinity, that's how we've always shined. We are led beyond the conventional by an inexhaustible curiosity, a sense of perpetual discovery where no answer is too tough to question and no question is too big to answer. We do not settle for textbook definitions of scholarship and achievement. We redefine the liberal arts. We strive for an inclusive excellence that wastes no potential and leaves no tiger behind. Connected to our community of supporters. Connected to our place in a vibrant city, not only by the legacy of what we have been, but also by a joint vision for what we now can be. A united force in motion. A university who imbues its people with an ability to perform and transform in unprecedented and unexpected ways. Now nationally ranked, reclassified, and under the guidance of a new president, Trinity stands on a new platform. But we are still speaking, as we always have, from the heart. And we are still standing on a rock-solid foundation, raised by generations of inspired hands and minds before us. Our stage is boundless. Our future is unscripted. Now watch us shine.
I'm San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg. I am a Trinity University alum, and I want you to know about my passion for these two vibrant communities. My alma mater is now a nationally recognized liberal arts university, offering fully integrated arts, humanities, STEM, and professional programs. Grounded in the liberal arts, Trinity graduates students who think critically, act meaningfully, and contribute confidently throughout their careers. As for San Antonio, Trinity is an oasis in the heart of a city that serves as a cultural bridge to the Americas. We are a diverse community that values inclusion and welcomes intellectual curiosity and spirited debate. We're a city that challenges convention and welcomes new ideas. Great things are happening at Trinity University, in San Antonio, and through all our connections to our multicultural world. Join me in being part of this exciting moment.
Welcome back to Tiger Network. Some of those numbers on the graphic not quite right. The holdover from the women's game in which Trinity completely dominated the ladies of Centenary. But the score you see there is the correct one. Trinity 29, Centenary 18. A much closer battle between the gentlemen and the Tigers. Exactly what we expected, I would say. And as both teams get set to start the second half, they are sending the same starting unit. No changes for Coach Dorsey or Coach Jimmy Smith. But surely both coaches suggested changes in the locker room, and it'll be fascinating to see what the game plan is out of the second half. Centenary has the ball first. They're continuing to swing it around. Beverly right back with it, top of the key. Mid-range look, no good, off the front iron. And Roberts coming the other way. Finds Millhouse in the corner, just off the top of the rim there. So after a 7-0 start for Trinity, really got this gym on its feet. It's been a lot slower. This is exactly what Centenary wants to do as Jarek Baines pulls up from three and bangs it home. That's exactly the start the Gents were looking for. When we were setting up the game, we mentioned Trinity averaging 77 points a game, top in the SCAC, but Centenary allowing just 64 points per game, second best in the conference. And so right now, it is the game that Centenary wants to play. We'll see what adjustments Trinity can make as the shot clock underneath 10 here. AJ Clark will pull up from three. It'll be an air ball from him as he looked for some contact late. Beverly wanting a flop, but he won't get it. So a couple of tough shots for the Tigers to start things off, Reed.
Yeah, and if you're Centenary, this is exactly what you want. You need to take the opportunities that the Tigers are giving you and score some points. And they started doing that at the start of the second half.
As Coach Dorsey puts it, you have to play a perfect game to beat Trinity no matter where you are. It wasn't a perfect first half, but it's been a perfect second half. Another three for Jarek Baines, a junior from Alexandria, Louisiana, and he has quite the story about how he ended up as a gentleman. He is a transfer from Bismarck State in North Dakota, but he is a Louisiana native, and now he is here contributing in a major way for the Gents. Hitting 2 3-pointers coming out of the locker room, but a travel called on Seth Thomas will give it to the Tigers, who are looking to settle in here in the second half, lead down to 5.
Yeah, Centenary, very tough defensively like you mentioned, and you got to hope that the Tigers' offense isn't getting whittled down.
I don't think Jacob Harvey has been down all year. Another 3-pointer for Jacob Harvey. He was quiet in that first half, but a late 3 gave us a feeling that he might wake up a little bit in this second half. Beverly responds with 2 more. And at least the first indication is that we are going to see more scoring and more dunks. This time it is A.J. Clark bringing it down. A lot of support for the San Antonio native in the house. Seth Thomas here drawing contact and the foul. He'll head to the line. You mentioned, Reed, at the break, don't really ever see signs in the gym, but we've got several signs in the stands supporting number 22 on the court, but number 1 in our hearts. How sweet that is. But number 2 will be the one heading to the line here for Centenary. Seth Thomas, 4 points so far, but the Tigers doing a nice job keeping him relatively quiet before that first free throw. A couple substitutions on the way. Dylan Hooter back in. Looks like that's the only change so far. Braden Board heading to the bench. Both free throws good for Thomas, so he is perfect from the free throw line. But there he is again, folks. If he's heating up, look out. Jacob Harvey, this time from the corner. And just like that, he is into double digits. No points deep into the first half, yet he already has 11. A giveaway by the Tigers on the fast break. Singleton has Harvey in his face. Now Beverly with it. Right back to Singleton. Both arms of Clark and Harvey flying at him. Can Harvey win it? Not quite, but it'll still go to Trinity on the turnover. Both teams hitting 3 of their last 3 shots.
A much more offensive start to the second half.
But just like we started the half saying it had slowed down to what Centenary wants to do, I think these last few minutes are exactly what Trinity wants. Creating that chaos, creating that pressure, and always keeping things moving. A tactical battle at its finest here between Centenary and Trinity. Clark over to Roberts, swings it to Millhouse, steps in from the corner, and a nice finish for Jacob Millhouse. Not forcing up that 3. And he is someone who has stepped up throughout these last few injuries for the Tigers with Hanley, Jenkins, and Brown out. Millhouse has seen starter minutes, and he has now scored double digits in 5 of the last 6. Barry, another block. Shot clock down to 10. Baines trying to get another triple. Won't. Battle for the board won by Beverly. And here is Hooter now slowing it down to Bear. Baines finds Thomas in the corner. Steps in off the glass and good for Seth Thomas.
Yeah, Centenary moved the ball very well there. The Tigers didn't seem like they knew where the ball was going.
This last replay shows you the block for Braxton Berry, who actually told me this week his favorite thing in basketball is not scoring, it's not rebounding, it's blocking shots, and he's got a pair of them today. Really helping that interior defense for Trinity as this first media timeout finds the Tigers up 39-30. You'll get some highlights here during the timeout, and we'll stick right here with you. We've sprinkled it in throughout the broadcast, talking about these injuries that the Tigers have dealt with. But I think it's really hard to comprehend how much the Tigers have dealt with. They've had 3 of 5 starters out for a combined 15 games. They, as a team, dealt with a flu bug that hit the entire team, including Coach Jimmy Smith. And they just have dealt with obstacle after obstacle. But now, winners of 8 in a row, 6 in a row in the conference, back home for the majority of this latter half of the season, it feels like everything is really starting to come together for the Trinity Tigers.
Yeah, and when you start the season, you don't know what's going to happen. You can get a flu bug, God forbid you get the COVID bug, but you have to fight through that adversity, and these Tigers have certainly done that this season.
Yeah, and I've gotten to talk to Jimmy Smith not only this week, but throughout the season, head coach for the Tigers, and he's highlighted how really since November 19th, if you look at the schedule against Hamilton, he says that was one of the team's best performances, and since then, November 19th, it's been 2 months now, they have not been at full strength. It has been one thing or another keeping somebody out, but it just starts to feel, and the vibe around the team, the energy around them, feels like everything's coming together, and they're looking to keep it going against the Gents. But the Gents certainly won't go quietly. Thomas leading the fast break, finds an open Hooter. You don't want to give him space. Puts up the 3 fingers to his bench to signal his make. And Dylan Hooter, the junior from Manville, Louisiana, averages under a point per game, but there you have it. Averages are meant to be changed because he has 3 now on the board, and the Gents down by 5. Barry will try to back down the smaller Hooter, but he has help from Bear. Excellent rotation before a steal from Harvey. Roberts charges in, tries to dump it down to Barry, and it'll slow things down on the deflection, staying with Trinity.
It's good to see Hooter out there. Took a bit of a fall in the first half. He seems to be in peak condition starting the second half.
Yeah, he was the one that got the deflection there. And saying he averages less than a point per game, only appeared in 8 games so far. But in Centenary's last game against Colorado, he played a season-high 28 minutes. Had just 2 points, but clearly someone that Coach Dorsey is trusting late in the season. Jenkins spinning, turning all the way to Hanley in the corner. Little short, but the board for Barry, and the putback is good for number 0. Rebound number 6 and point number 6 for the sophomore. And you want to talk about guys coming into their own. Braxton Berry certainly qualifies. Jalen Bear pulling up deep, but a board there by Berry. You see how big he gets when he elevates. He makes everyone around him better. Going around Jenkins there. The defender had no shot. And the lead back up to 9 after the Gents had cut it to 5. Here is Thomas going right at Jenkins. Hooter finds himself open. And another 3 for Dylan Hooter. Timeout on the floor. As Dylan Hooter, the junior from Manville, Louisiana, doing his part to bring his team back. And as we take this timeout, a perfect time to highlight those standings you see right there. And you get to see with your own eyes, not just trust our voices, of how important this game is. You'll get a look at some highlights as well. But that quick flash at the standings shows the St. Thomas Celts in first place. They remain unbeaten in conference play, but not far behind them are the Gents and the Tigers. The Centenary Gents coming into today 12-4, 6-2 in conference play. Their only 2 losses in conference play, by 4 to St. Thomas and by 1 to TLU. And it's been a year that has seen them have to hang on to a lot of their games. Centenary was up 25 at TLU in Seguin, but the Bulldogs battling all the way back, getting a near buzzer beater to pull out that win coming from behind, and then the Gents up against St. Thomas at the half as well. They nearly gave up that lead against Trinity at home, and so this time they're really reversing the script, trying to come back, but they've seen some games that are winnable slip away from them. That leaves them in second place with the Tigers.
Yeah, and if you're Centenary, you can only just say, we won't let it happen again. You got to keep going with the season. Learn from your mistakes. And you just got to learn how to win on the road. But for Centenary, here in probably the most hostile environment in the SCAC, it's proven very difficult.
It's been difficult, but they are right there within arm's reach. Speaking of arm's reach, a foul on the reach-in call. Seth Thomas not happy with it. But out of the timeout, Trinity maintains a 6-point lead. Centenary creeping ever closer. Lots of contact. Jenkins to the floor, and he is slow to get up, being helped up by Braxton Berry. Thomas also slow to get up, reaching for his chest. Hopefully for both of them, just a blow to the chest that has sucked some air out of them, nothing more. But one key, Reed, that's 4 fouls on Seth Thomas, and you could see the frustration as he heads to the bench.
Yeah. Seth Thomas, a very important player for the Centenary team, and racking up so many fouls. It's rough for Centenary. You don't want one of your best players getting fouled out this early on in the second half.
He's not just one of Centenary's best players, he's one of the conference's best players, as Tanner Brown puts up a 3 off the back iron, no good. Seth Thomas averages 16 points a game. That is second best in the conference. And so that is a huge loss for Centenary to see him on the bench with 13 minutes to go here. Can they survive without him? Beverly trying to help out. His shot falls out into the hands of Levine, charging through. A blocking foul going to be the call And right now, the Gents not thrilled with the officiating. You see the looks on the faces right there, Jarek Baines. We'll get a slowed down look at it. That charge block, always one of the toughest calls, Reed. And this time it goes in favor of the Tigers.
It's been such a physical game, too.
Bounces home for Levine on the first free throw. That's the first point of the evening for Griffin Levine, who had a scoring outburst just a few games ago up in his hometown of Dallas, facing the Crusaders. A season-high 17. Coach Smith telling me that is a big testament to his talent and hard work to always be ready when the moment is his. When they need him to score, he scored. Here, he'll get a chance from three. Book it for Levine. Just like that, double digits, the lead for Trinity, 11 over Centenary. And the defense chance coming down in CalGuard. This crowd is active. They are happy to be here and happy to see their Tigers on top. Beverly trying to find Hooter in the middle of the zone. Back to Beverly. Now kicked out. It is Baines. That low arcing three won't go. And Jenkins headed to Clark. Brown, nice drive. What a pass. Incredible ball movement here. Can Hanley hit it? Yes, he can.
Wow, what an excellent offensive play there.
The Trinity Tigers looking like the old school San Antonio Spurs with that ball movement. We know we've used that in the past on the broadcast, but why wouldn't we here in San Antonio? Just unselfish basketball being played by the Tigers. And after the Gents had cut it to 6, a timeout here finds Centenary down 14. And look at this possession, folks. Just pass after pass, good decision after good decision. And it was Hanley who drilled it. This is what the Tigers have been wanting. They've been wanting their home fans here. They've been wanting this fast-paced on offense, and they are getting everything they've desired here so far.
Yeah, and the Tigers know that they can win a shootout against the Gentlemen. And the Gents, they've been trying to keep it a defensive game, but the Tigers are starting to run away.
Staying here through this timeout, you get a little feel for the atmosphere in CalGuard Gym. The fans are feeling it. 24-karat Magic playing in the house. And all smiles so far for Tiger fans. The women's team ranked #1 in the country, pulling out a major victory earlier today. And now the men continuing the dominance over their visitors from Shreveport. It's a long bus ride over from Louisiana, and it has so far not been a pleasant one. As the media timeout comes to an end here, Coach Dorsey wrapping up his final words with his team. Can they continue to cut slowly into it and overcome that hump? They haven't been able to so far. It's been down to about 6, down to about 5. But it seems like every time the Gents get a little closer, the Tigers just ever so slightly extend their arm to keep them at a distance. But one way the Gents could certainly make their way back into this game is at the free throw line. Second best mark in the league, shooting 70%, and they'll get a pair here for Singleton. He is short on the first free throw. The wave breaking out in CalGuard Gym. That is something I don't think I've ever seen. Get a good look at it there, top right of your screen. Oh, what fun it is to have students back on campus. There you have it.
It's beautiful.
Just as we mentioned how good the Gents are from the free throw line, they missed 2 But Singleton says, you know what? That's my bad. Let me take care of it and put it right back up there. Nice determination for him. And the lead is 12 for Trinity. You've got A.J. Clark, the lone starter out there for the Tigers, but that's just so misleading because you have Tanner Brown, Caleb Jenkins, and Ben Hanley out there, with Brown finishing that layup. Three guys who are traditionally starters weren't in the starting unit today, but as they work themselves back from injury, you can see the confidence growing with every minute of action. A three on the way from Baines. After a couple to start the half, he has been cold, kind of like North Dakota that he came from. But here he is again, nearly travels with it, instead gives it up to Beverly. A screen, looked like it was moving, and it was. Singleton didn't quite get set on the screen, and it'll be Trinity basketball.
You can see the Centenary ladies trickling in, coming here to support the gentlemen.
And as you mentioned, the ladies coming into the gym, really similar games in that we saw the Trinity Tigers on the women's side have 12 players score, and we talked about how impressive that was. Well, 10 Tigers have scored in this men's game already, and we still have 10 minutes to go in this one. Really no one taking control of the game as an individual, but everybody doing their part, and that time it's Hanley driving to the lane, and just every time he goes down on the court, you take a deep breath because he has dealt with a lot of ankle injuries, had ankle surgery last year, missed some time with it again this year, but we are so happy to see Ben Hanley back in action and headed to the charity stripe here. A great look at him there, connects on the first free throw. It was that Christmas break game against Geneva. Ben Hanley was already into double digits scoring-wise, and he drove hard to the basket, actually got an and-one opportunity, but he hobbled off with an ankle injury and missed 5 games because of it. But in his 5th year, he is not going to let anything stop him from being on the court. He misses his second free throw, but the Tigers have it, and another shot coming up for the maroon and white. Levine taking Ralph Johnson to town, but he couldn't finish the layup. What a look for Levine. Looked like a travel. Everybody wanted it. Referee says there was a hand on the ball. Doesn't matter anyway, as the Tigers have it. Levine, can he put him again in the spin cycle? Drops it off for Clark. Clark able to finish. These Tigers taking full advantage of a Centenary defense that is very aggressive on their closeouts. They rotate a ton as a team. And you see these Tigers saying, okay, we'll let you fly right by us as we take a trip to the basket. A little bit delayed, but there's the travel this stadium wanted. It allows Braxton Berry to come in for Levine, who has brought a lot of energy in his 9 minutes. A 13-2 run currently for Trinity.
And Centenary on a scoring drought of about 2 minutes.
And you're getting a close look at Chris Dorsey, the head coach. He has just been called for a technical foul. He has not been happy with some of these calls, and that latest travel is what sent him over the edge. So Tanner Brown will get the technical free throw on the other end. Able to hit it. Chris Dorsey in his 6th season as the head coach sees Brown miss his second technical free throw. But not many coaches have overseen a better tenure in the SCAC than Dorsey. His Gents 79 and 55 have finished above 500 each of his first 5 years, and they are looking to do so yet again. And if you remember, SCAC fans, back in 2020, the Gentlemen of Centenary won the conference for the first time ever, going to the NCAA tournament, and that is where they want to get back to. It'll take a comeback here against Trinity if they want to stay in second place. A foul will help them out as Singleton, looking around, finally sees the whistle blown. Foul going against Brown. Thomas checks it into Ralph Johnson, and with 8.5 to go, Trinity has seen their lead grow to 18. What has been such a back-and-forth game, pretty tight throughout, now threatening to get away from Centenary. Mingo trying to pull it back, short on the three. And then a foul on Barry. He is looking around. That'll be his third foul and the 6th on the team. So Trinity has to be careful here. The next foul will send Centenary to the free throw line for the rest of the half. And that is certainly one way to let them back in the game. Coach Jimmy Smith making a couple of substitutions here. Millhouse back in the game, as is Harvey. Deep pass to Ralph Johnson. Board hasn't seen much opening. Able to find an open look for his teammate, but it is way over the basket. Mingo overshoots that one by a mile. Our next stoppage will find us at the media timeout, and the Gents have to be wanting it because they look frustrated out there. A technical foul on their coach just a few minutes ago, and nothing falling offensively. 0 for their last 4, have not scored in 3 minutes. Barry, a little wild there underneath the rim, loses it. Seth Thomas pulls up, strong on that one. And Seth Thomas among those who have to be the most frustrated. Harvey, strong on the three. Things slow down a little bit here for Centenary. Allows you to see the movement of the Trinity zone. Results in another Mingo miss. Barry takes his time there on the rebound, gives a smile to the crowd. And every second that goes by is another second Centenary won't have to come back. They'll need every single one of them. Down 18 with under 7 to go. Hanley finds Millhouse over to Harvey. He attacks. Hanley now into Johnson. Pulled back by Barry.
And Centenary's scoring drought just growing longer, about 4 minutes now.
And Braxton Berry, that putback puts him at 8 points, and he has 11 rebounds. Officially double watch. Nearly another block, but I think that'll be his 4th foul if they do charge it on him, and they do. So that might prevent him from getting closer to the double-double in the immediate future. And both sides will take a break here with the media timeout. But Braxton Berry, those 8 points, 11 rebounds, just a continuation of a stretch of really, really solid play for number 0. You'll get a good look at the Trinity bench right there during the timeout. And we're talking about number 0, Braxton Berry, the sophomore from Houston, Texas. He had no points and 5 rebounds against Southwestern, but that's not the game you have to look at. You have to look at the game just before that. Had a career-high 14 points, and he had 16 rebounds. Now, 16 rebounds sounds like a lot, Reed. It's because that's the most any Trinity player has had in 15 years. His first career double-double, and asking him what is going right for him, and he said he just feels confident. He's getting used to the college game, the speed at which the game is played, and saying it's kind of a twofold problem. It's a very fast game, but he's learned that you yourself can't go too fast. You have to slow it down and play at your own pace. And by the looks of it, he has really started to figure things out at the D3 level.
Yeah, he's such an electric player. He's made some blocks that The crowd has just gone wild over, and he's had a good game tonight as well. And hopefully we'll see more good games to come, especially tomorrow against that penultimate game against St. Thomas.
It's a big one on everybody's mind. We're not quite there yet, but we are getting closer, aren't we? Still 6:14 to go as Ralph Johnson hits his first free throw. Centenary on the board for the first time in nearly 5 minutes. They've seen their deficit increase to 19 now, 18 with the free throw. Now a full court press shown by Centenary, but Tigers have no trouble breaking it. Clark took a fall to the ground, and it's off the blocking foul. A screech coming over here from a Centenary fan in the stands on that one. Bit of a late call, but it'll send Clark to the line. As Clark heads to the line, take a brief look at what's going on up in Kerrville. St. Thomas, with 19 seconds to go, is up 7 over Schreiner. So it looks like the Celts will come down to San Antonio undefeated in conference play. And what a matchup that is setting up to be. Clark makes the lead 20 once again. Clark now surpassing Jacob Harvey with those last free throws as the leading scorer. 12 on the board for the super senior. Ralph Johnson trying to take things into his own hands. Misses the layup, but then a foul as Seth Thomas tried to get the offensive board. And as we mentioned just a couple of moments ago, every foul will send Centenary to the line.
Yeah, and the deficit seems daunting, but there's plenty of game left.
1-1 on the way. Has to hit the first to get a second. He does hit the first. So Seth Thomas into double digits, the first gent to do so with 10 points, but 6 of them have been free throws, just 2 of 5 from the field. He shoots 52% on the year, averages those 16 points a game, both second best in the SCAC. And you can now say he's reached double digits in 12 straight games, but it was that other mark. He's reached 20 in the last 4. He is not there right now. But like you said, Reed, still plenty of time and an easy bucket there for the Gents off the turnover. Lead is 16 for the Tigers. Millhouse finds Roberts down low for 2. He tricked everybody, thought he was going to the corner. Instead, Roberts took care of business. Thomas looking for a space, won't find it. Doesn't matter, though. That is Seth Thomas at his best through 2 defenders.
And if you're Trinity, you got to keep the foot on the gas. You got to keep scoring.
Excellent save by Johnson. Gives his team a shot in transition. Johnson ends back up with it. And he'll head to the line for 2. We've talked a lot about Seth Thomas as he's gotten trips to the line. He was an All-SCAC third-team member last year, but now that Johnson takes a trip to the line, lets us highlight how special of a player he has been in his time in Shreveport. An All-SCAC honorable mention a year ago. He missed his previous 3 games, but he is such a crucial part of this team. And this is his first free throw there. The way Chris Dorsey described it to me, saying he impacts the team in a positive way, whether he plays or not, and threw in that he thinks he's going to be a great coach because of how he leads out there on the court and in the locker room. And we've really seen it today. When he has the ball, he is pointing, he is sending directions, telling people where to go. So I think that's an excellent point made by Coach Dorsey about Johnson. Not only is he a great player for the team, but he has a bright future as a coach.
certainly. Yeah, you've seen him directing traffic a lot this game, and certainly helped Centenary out.
He split his trip to the free throw line, now splits the defense and finishes nicely to pull Centenary to within 13. And Jimmy Smith not going to mess around here, calls a timeout with 4:22 to go. 63-50 is the score in favor of Trinity. And it'll turn into the media timeout as well. Heard the PA announcement right there, since we're so close to the 4-minute mark. And so we'll continue to stick with you on Tiger Network. It has been the good one we hoped for, Reed. 13-4 versus 12-4, 6-2 versus 6-2. What are your thoughts about what we've seen so far?
Well, it's been some excellent basketball here in San Antonio. A defensive first half, an offensive second half, and it's really starting to rev up here at the end with Centenary looking to make a run at that Trinity lead.
I think it's easy for, quote-unquote, us, the media, we are the media, to talk about standings and records and what's at stake. But sometimes teams really say, oh, it's just one game at a time, and you don't want to worry about the future. So I wanted to ask Jimmy Smith, honestly, do you talk about the importance of a game against Centenary, a game against St. Thomas, the top two teams in the conference, and he did not beat around the bush. He said it would be silly to not address the elephant in the room of how important these games are. These are the two teams that beat you. They're the two teams ahead of you. So if you want to win this conference, you have to improve and get through the Gents and the Celts. And so I appreciated that honesty and love hearing that the team is very aware, and in conversations throughout the week as well with the team, they know what's at stake. They even brought it up a lot of times before I could ask them, of saying, yeah, this is a really key weekend, and they are showing how much they care. Out of the timeout, A.J. Clark, an easy layup to put the lead back up to 15. Johnson there in the middle of the paint. Another two for Johnson. So he is taking over for Centenary now, 12 points. Hanley cuts inside, off the glass and down. You can see the impact of Hanley's three earlier in the half, putting that in the mind of Centenary. And he's able to fly by those closeouts as we highlighted. Is that another Braxton Berry block? It certainly seemed like it. Here is Hanley charging hard. Was a missed layup at first, but then the ref says you were fouled. So Ben Hanley will get 2 free throws.
And more frustration on the gentleman's face. Seth Thomas kind of throwing his arms up a little.
At the line is Ben Hanley.
If he makes a pair of free throws here, he can get into double digits. Can still do so after that first one. Now 9 points and 2 assists for Ben Hanley. 20 minutes off the bench. Slowly working his way back from injury. And gets into double digits with that free throw. So you've got the 2 super seniors in double digits, joined by Jacob Harvey. And then massive contributions throughout the roster to add up to 69 points compared to Centenary's 52. Trying to make it 55 there, but it rattles out. Now Baines patiently waiting, and that'll be foul number 5 on Braxton Berry. He loosens his jersey and pleads with the referee as he makes his way back to the bench, but a phenomenal performance from Braxton Berry. 8 points, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 2 steals. Doesn't get much better than that, Reed.
Absolutely not. And fortunately, don't get the double-double, but he can be proud of the performance tonight.
Jarek Baines. Too strong on his first free throw. Teased that story a little bit, how he transferred from North Dakota. How did he end up back at Centenary? Well, of course, Twitter, as does happen. He sent film to Coach Dorsey on Twitter And Coach Dorsey said, I have to have this kid. He is a hometown kid. He wants back in Shreveport, and I want him on my team. And they are happy to have him starting all 16, now 17 games for the Gents, averaging 8 points a game. Cuts the deficit to 16 for Centenary. Still a long ways to go for them to be back in it, but they are not backing down by any means. Clark here turning the corner up against Johnson. And more free throws on the way. We joked about it, Reed, before the game, saying, especially with these two teams, we were thinking we'd see a lot of free throws. Well, in the first half, we saw a total of 4, maybe 5. Now they're starting to pile up.
Yeah. Well, you got to wait for the announcer's curse to wear off a little bit.
But we didn't say it on air. Doesn't count. Clark rattles home that first free throw. But we really aren't kidding when we say the Tigers shoot a lot of free throws. Last year, they were in the top 2 of free throws attempted and made. And this year, they are right back at the top. They are 8th and 5th, respectively, in free throws attempted and free throws made. Very importantly, also, they've increased their team percentage to 70%. Last time we were here on Tiger Network, it was around 63. And so the effort has been put into practice, and there Clark able to extend the lead with a pair of makes to 18. Ralph Johnson spots up from deep. Misses everything on that one. Harvey collects the board. And the Tigers up 18 with 2.5 remaining. I think everyone in CalGuard Gym can start to sense the outcome. Zach Fenn has it here. Still tremendous pressure defensively provided by Centenary, but Clark floats it over the defense and down into the bucket. Making it look easy is number 22. The battling also never stopping on the defensive end on Trinity's side. Even up 20. Hanley will be called for the reach-in foul, trying to get another turnover.
And a good offensive performance from Trinity, scoring more than their loss at Centenary. And Centenary being one of the best defenses in the SCAC. It's going to feel nice putting up 73, at least 73 on them.
Quentin Beverly's first free throw off the mark, and he has struggled as well today. 2 for 8 from the field, just 4 points. But as a freshman, he has come out onto the scene immediately. Coach Dorsey saying he is one of the most coachable players he's ever had. Acts like a sponge, always wanting to get better and take in information. And you have to believe he'll be taking in everything from this one, wanting to keep it in his memory bank, because it's one of the first true games that he has struggled as a collegiate athlete. Off on both of his free throws. And with the lead 20 under 2, it's just about the final score. Tanner Brown trying to put a cherry on it, and he does. Tanner Brown, a triple to give him 8. Seth Thomas comes back the other way and floats it through. Brings a timeout on the floor, but not much will change the outcome now. 76-55, the score in favor of Trinity. And I think, Reed, we've reached the point where we can officially prep tomorrow's game, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. At this point, Trinity's going to just probably stay back court with the ball, run the timeout, and then looks like we're going to be set up for a really good game tomorrow.
A really good game indeed. The score is final in Kerrville, St. Thomas 74, Schreiner 69. So what does that mean? The St. Thomas Celts, ranked 14th in the country, will come into San Antonio 9-0 in SCAC play. But they will be hearing the footsteps of the Trinity Tigers, just 2 games behind them. A deep court heave and a slam by Zach Fenn. Hello to the first year. That's a way to put an exclamation point on this one.
Yeah, so much for running the clock out.
I think these Trinity Tigers know what happened in Shreveport. They want to return the favor a little bit, and they are not shy about being happy to win this game. The lead sitting at 21. Tanner Brown looking healthy as ever, gets a pair more, and that puts Tanner Brown into double digits as well. It is a party in the 10-point column for the Trinity Tigers. And you're getting a look at just how lethal this attack can be when they are fully healthy. Ralph Johnson pulls up from just outside the paint. But you look at the box score for the Tigers, that is 4 Trinity players in double digits. The shot clock reading the same as the play clock. And the Tigers look pretty content to dribble it around, pass it a little bit more. We'll see if they get one more shot up. But they have given their home fans a great show, and they are realizing it now. On their feet are the Tiger fans. The flag coming out one more time. Just off on the shot clock and the play clock, but it is a formality. You see the flag making its way around Calgar Gym. Just 0.8 away. Keeping you hanging. Won't call it yet. 0.8 to go. And there you have it. It's a Trinity Tigers victory. 9 in a row for the Maroon and White. And it sets up an epic Saturday night battle between the Celts and the Tigers. 80-59, the final score. It was a lot closer than that score shows, but a truly phenomenal performance by a Trinity offense scoring 80 on a Centenary defense that allows just 60 for a game.
Yeah, it was an excellent game, great basketball, and who knows, maybe when that SCAC tournament rolls around, we may get to see a rubber match.
We would certainly love to have the Gents back here in town. We know it'll be a great rest of the season, and that would be a great matchup in the SCAC tournament. But before we reach that, we've got the Celts in town tomorrow. The women will tip off at 4 p.m., the number 1 team in the country looking to remain unbeaten. And then at 6 p.m. or whenever the women's game finishes, we've got number 1 against number 2 in the SCAC. If you love basketball, if you love Texas, we've got it all for you on Tiger Network. It has been such a fun night here on the broadcast. Reed, thank you so much for joining me. It's been so fun. I'd say this was a pretty fun day for all involved.
Yeah, it was really fun. I'm glad to do this.
Always fun to call a pair of Trinity victories, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. We hope to have you with us, but for now, have a fantastic Friday night. I'm Brian Yanselson. For everyone here, hope to see you tomorrow night.
"2022 put Trinity University on a new stage. Here, on the national level, the lights are brighter, the stakes are higher, our voices reach further. There's no script for this type of moment, and at Trinity, that's how we've always shined. We are led beyond the conventional by an inexhaustible curiosity, a sense of perpetual discovery where no answer is too tough to question, and no question is too big to answer. We do not settle for textbook definitions of scholarship and achievement. We redefine the liberal arts. We strive for an inclusive excellence that wastes no potential and leaves no Tiger behind. Connected to our community of supporters. Connected to our place in a vibrant city, not only by the legacy of what we have been, but also by a joint vision for what we now can be. A united force in motion. A university who imbues its people with an ability to perform and transform in unprecedented and unexpected ways. Now nationally ranked, reclassified, and under the guidance of a new president, Trinity stands on a new platform. But we are still speaking, as we always have, from the heart. And we are still standing on a rock-solid foundation. raised by generations of inspired hands and minds before us. Our stage is boundless, our future is unscripted. Now watch us shine.
I'm San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg. I am a Trinity University alum, and I want you to know about my passion for these two vibrant communities. My alma mater is now a nationally recognized liberal arts university, offering fully integrated arts, humanities, STEM, and professional programs. Grounded in the liberal arts, Trinity graduates students who think critically, act meaningfully, and contribute confidently throughout their careers. As for San Antonio, Trinity is an oasis in the heart of a city that serves as a cultural bridge to the Americas. We are a diverse community that values inclusion and welcomes intellectual curiosity and spirited debate. We're a city that challenges convention and welcomes new ideas. Great things are happening at Trinity University, in San Antonio, and through all our connections to our multicultural world. Join me in being part of this exciting moment.